Write down to remind yourself on how it can be. How it can be.
Well, hello, we're back again. It's Jacob with yet another quick demo on Eagle. Today we're on our fourth part here. We're going to look at how to export projects. Particularly, we're going to look at how to export a project that's single-sided. So a reminder again, working in 6.2 Lite version of Eagle. You can go to the Cadsoft website to download the program. And I'm working on a Mac, so hopefully everything translates over to a PC if you're a PC user. But if not, I'm sorry. This is all I have to work with. So anyway, so we're going to remind ourselves that we've done two versions of the same project at this point. In episode 1, we built a schematic for our demo rat here. And then in our second session, we did a single-sided layout. So you can see here, the single-sided layout is good for etching a version for your own home use. Then in part 3, we did a double-sided layout. And you can see this is the finished product. I tweaked this a little bit after sort of I was done with my demo, and you can see from here that the layout is pretty tight. We've got it certainly much smaller than the layout that I did for single-sided use. But we're not worrying about this one today. We're going to take a look at another layout, how to export a single-sided layout. I'm also going to be using another program today called Inkscape. I'm going to let that fire up here because it takes a while. Inkscape is a free-to-use vector software program, and because we need to do some graphic editing of the actual layout here once we've exported it in a proper format. So first thing you need to do when we're exporting is we need to create a folder. I'm going to create one on the desktop, but I'm going to create a folder where we can hold some files here. You don't have to. Obviously, you can do this on your desktop, but I like to do a folder. That's the Inkscape file. We're going to diminish that. So here's a folder. We're going to call this our demo rat files folder. So I've just created that on my desktop right there. So when I export files, I'm going to be exporting them into this this folder right here. This is helpful just as a gathering place. The first thing I'm going to do here is just show you quickly how to export using the schematic. We're going to diminish this. Okay, so now that we've got our schematic pulled up here, we're going to say that this is our demo rat. I need to put that on my info, but just so we have something to identify it in the program itself. Okay, so we've got a free-to-use demo rat. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the File menu bar, the toolbar at the top of my screen here. It says File, and then I'm going to go down here to the place where it says Export. Hopefully you'll be able to see that clearly. Right there it says Export. When I press Export with this window activated, it's going to ask me what kind of exporting I want to do. I can export a list of the nets, those are all those green lines, the parts, which are all the red parts right there, our pin list, how many places where there's connections made, a net script, I'm really not sure what that is, but it's something that you can export, and last but not least we can export an image. I'm going to press Image, and up pops a little menu here in which we can do some fun things. So the first thing we can do is we can press Browse, and I'm going to go to my desktop and go to my folder demo rat files, and I can choose what to save this at. I'm going to say demo rat schematic. Okay, as I press save, it's not going to finish it, it's just going to take me back to here again, where now I can select my resolution, how many dots per inch this file is. I'm going to make it 600 so it's nice and big, and then that will actually tell me how big my pixel size is. So if you really want to control how big your image is, obviously you can really fine-tune precisely what it is. Now you can also save it to your clipboard. I never do that, so but you can do that. You can just direct it right to your clipboard so you can copy and paste it without ever actually having saved it on the hard drive. You can also make it monochrome, so if you're working in black and white, this is particularly helpful. I often do this with both my schematics, but it becomes even more important when you're exporting a layout. So we're going to choose monochrome on, and then we can choose the size. So we can say the area is the full area, or we can do just the window. This might be helpful, for example, is if we had zoomed in on this, you know, and only were viewing this part. If we had this gigantic schematic where there was tons and tons and tons of parts, and we wanted to divide it up into, say, 4 or 5 or 6 sheets in order for us to be able to see the whole schematic up close, rather than having one big file, we could divide it up into areas that are the size of the window. So zooming in and then moving over and then moving over and exporting again. Right? So we're going to say our area is our full area here, which is the full schematic, and then I'm going to press OK. Once that's done, let's open up our demo rat file. You see that right here? We've got our demo rat schematic, and as I double click on that, my preview program opens, and you can see I've got a black and white version of our schematic right there. Close that up. Okay, close this window. Let's go back over to our layout. I'm going to diminish the schematics here. Okay, so this is where the layers tool becomes pretty important again. I've got a preset already saved, but here I'll guide you through understanding some of these things. I mean, you have to turn off some of these layers, because if we export this just as it is, I'll even show you as an example. We export this just as it is. We're going to export an image. Why not? Demo rat image. And we do it in. There we go. As what we end up seeing here is the full color version of this layout. We don't want that right now, because we can't actually etch all the graphic stuff into our layout, into our PCB, because we need what we really need are the traces, the polygons, and the pads, right? So that's what we have to eliminate using the layers tool. We're going to eliminate everything that isn't important. You can see here that there's a whole bunch of things. Some of them are selected and some of them are not selected. Alright, let's start deselecting them and seeing what happens. So as we deselect this and we press apply, top, nothing happens. If you deselect the bottom, oh, we need all that blue stuff. So let's put that back in. Pads, we need those pads, put them back in. Vias, nothing happens. That's good. Unrouted, nothing happens. That's good. Dimension. Oh, we get rid of the outside. We want that back again. So we're going to apply that. We need the dimension. Top place. Oh, that's good. We don't want those white lines. Bottom place. T origins stands for top origins. These are going to be all these little crosses here where all the parts centers are. Get rid of those. That's good. Same at the bottom. And the top names. Look at that. Bottom names. Now as we look at it, we've still got little bits and things here. We have little white dots that are on our... So let's see what layer those... what's the keep out here? Let's try that. Didn't do anything. Bottom keep out. Nothing. Restrict. Oh, that doesn't help. Okay. Document. Reference. Top docu. Aha! Bottom docu. That's what those things were. So basically, we've got it down to just the bottom, the pads, and our dimension. As I press OK here, as we look at this, this is what you want to be able to see. All you want to be able to see is the pads, the traces, and our polygon, along with our outline on the outside. Once we have that, all and only that visible to us, we can take a really close look and make sure that there's nothing that's out of the ordinary. And this is an important step. If you don't do this step, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but if you don't do this step, you may end up with something like one of these traces being missing just by accident. See that? Like if those pads are like that and you didn't know that they needed to be alone like that, well, long story short, let's put that back in. Okay, rat it out. Okay, so now that we have this here, we can go up to our file, we can press export image. We're going to go back here. I'm going to go to my demo rat etch. That's what I'm going to say that's what I want to save it as. I'm going to put it in monochrome, and I want the full area. You can choose the window. That's not helpful. We want the full area, and that'll basically mean that the dimension here is our area. I want it in 600 dpi. That's good enough for me. I'm going to press OK. OK. I'm going to diminish this here. Let's pull up our demo rat folder here. Look at that. Now this is interesting. See what happened here is as I put it in monochrome, the background, which was black, stayed black, and the foreground, which was blue, is now white. If we were to etch this, right? If we were to just etch this as it was, what would end up happening is all these black areas would end up being where the copper stays, and all the white areas would be where the copper goes. That's backwards. What we need is all the white area to be where the copper stays, and the black area to be where the copper goes. Now you can go to a tool in whatever program you're using here and see if maybe there's a way to invert this image. But here I'll show you how I invert my image. Again, I'm going to point out that I pulled out Inkscape as a program. Inkscape is a free-to-use program for vector editing, and I do all my graphics in this program as well, which is why I actually use this program. I'm going to open up a preset I have, a template as it were. Let's see, Inkscape templates, here we go. I'm going to say my etch template right here. I'm going to open this up, and you can see I've got another thing that I was etching from before. I'm going to delete that. What this does is this gives me an outline to use. Right? I've already just got it all set up in a format that I'm comfortable with. So in this outline becomes a little bit important with some stuff that we're going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import I'm going to go to my desktop, demo rat, files, and find the etch image. I'm going to embed it in this rather than link it. That might become important later if you move files from one program to another. Okay? You can see there it is right there, but it's gigantic. If you look at my measurements here, it's 15 inches wide by 7.189 inches tall. That's way bigger than we need. Way bigger. That's not the right size at all. What is the right size? I'm going to go down here. I'm going to open up my demo rat thing again. Using my information tool, I can click on a line. The side line is 1.075 or 1075 mils, so 1.075 inches tall by 2.25 inches wide. Okay, so going back to my Inkscape thing here, let me make this a little bit smaller just to make sure that it's all centered in the window there for you. Okay, so as I select this, I'm going to link these here. I'm going to say the width here is 2.25 inches. See that? So now this little image here is the right size. Well, pretty close to the right size. It's 2.25 inches wide and 1.077 inches instead of 0.5 inches wide. Tall. Well, we can live with it being slightly off. That's alright. I know for me to be able to make this work, I have to put it in the right spot. I also have to make it go from object lower to bottom. Okay, so my border here becomes important because now I'm going to make it exactly the same size. So I need it to be 2.25 inches wide and 1.075 inches tall. And I'm going to highlight, make this I've got some extra stuff here. This becomes important in just a second here. You can't even really see them because they're white, but I'm going to go back to highlighting this. This is the most important step. This is why I've loaded it in here. I'm going to go to my filters control here and go to color. I'm going to go to invert. And I'm going to switch it. Now, everything that was white is now black. And everything that is black is now white. This is absolutely integral. When you export this, this is the image now that you can etch. And you can see all these white areas is where the copper will be etched away. And all the black areas here is where the copper will stay. So all of our traces, right, will be nice and clear. And all of our white areas will be where the copper gets removed. Now what I've got here is a couple extra little things here. One is a titling ability for the actual PCB, and the other one is sort of a copyright logo. Now I've already got JMK right there, and I've also said it's free to use, so I really don't need a JMK copyright 2011. Notice there that it's actually flipped around. I've reversed it, right? So this is how it would read normally. What I've done is I've actually flipped it over so that it's backwards. That's important for when you actually etch. Everything you write on your PCB here has to be flipped backwards. If it doesn't get flipped backwards, then it doesn't show up, right? What it ends up being is when you etch it, it etches. It's like looking in a mirror, right? Everything that you're doing here needs to be mirrored, because when you actually have it come out for yourself, this is the bottom of the PCB, not the top. So it ends up getting flipped around when you actually etch it, when you actually put it on your piece of copper PCB. So I'm going to remove this because I don't really want it to be in there. But I'll show you how I create it. I use my text tool here. I make my text white. Let's see if this works here. JMK. Oh, it didn't work. Well, let's see here. Just make it white. Now I select it white. Flip it around. Change the size. 0.1 inch. Look at that. I've got a little JMK there. I can stick in there. Anywhere I want. Select your font. You can also import images if they're black and white. You can do all that sort of stuff. Great stuff. Next, I've also got a title for it. You can see here. This is not the correct title at all. Oops, I moved stuff here. Let's just undo what I was doing there. This is. I was doing a reverb project before last time that I opened up this preset. So let's delete this, and we'll call this the Ratatouille, or the Demo Rat. Let's go with our typical name, Demo Rat. I'm gonna flip it mirrored. I'm gonna turn it and put this right in here. Do that. Now, as I look in at it, we've got it's inverted. We've got a nice clear border here. That can be very important. We've got a really nice clear border. We've got a super really easy to use ground plane, and we've got all of our traces already ready to go. Nothing looks to be out of the ordinary. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Save As. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go to my desktop, go to my demo rat files. I'm going to save it as demo rat etch.pdf. Save it. It's going to ask me to convert text to paths. Yes. Rasterize, sure. My resolution, 600 dpi. My export area, this is important, is drawing. If you export the page, it'll give you tons and tons of white space around it. But if we export just the drawing, that means from the edge of the border in, all the way around. That's the only thing that'll get exported. So we want to export that. It's just the drawing. We'll press OK. Great. I'm going to quit my program here. I don't need to be in Inkscape anymore. Minimize this. Open up Demo Rat. Look at this. Here we go. Here's our... And look at that. Do you notice how when we opened up this one, it was gigantic? In my Inkscape, what it actually did, this is actual size. I can make it larger, but when I make it as small as possible, this is the actual size. This is 1.075 inches tall and 2.25 inches wide. It's exactly the size it is. So basically, our precise image here is exactly what we need it to be. Now, I could print this out, Apple P, and I'm going to tell it to not to scale the fit, to scale it at 100%. See there? Just print that out, and it should be. And you can always double check, right? Because you have your measurement, you can always double check. Is it 1.075 inches by 2.25 inches wide? Well, usually you just check the width, 2.25, 2.25 inches. Is it 2.25 inches wide? Then we're good to go. Alrighty, and that is how you export a single-sided layout like this one here. Right? Now, what you could do here is you could go to New and save this as a, so Etching. Right? Save it as a layer, so then I can switch back and forth and modify. There you go. I've already had one here. I'm gonna delete that one. Why not? but now we've got a preset saved, and so every time you do a layout that you want to use for single-sided etching, then you can do the same with double-sided etching too, by the way. But what you would do is you would then hide the bottom and show the top side, right? So then you end up with the same pads. Or you could, select which pads should be on the top and which pads should be on the bottom. And there you go. Everything's all good to go. Let's go to modify. There you go. So you can see our layout here and how it would end up being. So what I've done here too is I've got a layout here. Now I could print this image out, and so when I go to make the PCB itself, when I actually go to build it, when it's already etched and I'm ready to load in parts and start to solder them all together, now I have this image to work from because I've saved it. I can print that out, and I have this schematic that's been exported as well. So if I have any troubleshooting that I need to do, I'll be able to look at that and find out what's wrong. So there you go. That's how you do a single-sided layout. Look for our upcoming demos on how to take a double-sided layout and export that. I'm going to take our double-sided layout and export that. I'm going to show you briefly how to export it. It should be really quick to do an export for OshPark. Actually, really what I'm not showing you is exporting. I'm showing you mostly about how to do a design rule check according to the fab house that you're using, and also then showing you how to upload it to OshPark, just because that if you have a visual representation, that will be easier to work with. And then last but not least, I'll be showing you how to export some Gerber files, again based on some of those earlier factors. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day and have some fun with Eagle. Thanks.